Hare Krishna. Today we are reading a small a lecture that I have often kept it with me to remind me of being always um, aware of humility and tolerance in the right sense from the perspective of devotion and devotional service. Now we begin. By false religious sentiments, they present a mixture of devotional service, indulging in all sorts of immoral principles, and still pass as spiritual masters and devotees of God. Such violators of religious principles have no respect for the authoritative acharyas, the holy teachers, in the strict disciplic succession, and to mislead the people in general. They themselves become so called acharyas without even following the principles of the acharyas. These rogues in human society are the most dangerous elements, and for want of religious government, they pass on without being punished by the law of the state. They cannot, however, avoid the law of the Supreme, who has clearly declared in Bhagavad Gita that envious demons in the garb of religious propagandists shall be thrown into the darkest regions of hell. Bhagavad Gita 16.19 and 20. It is confirmed in Sri Ishopanishad that the pseudo religionists are heading towards the most obnoxious place in the universe after finishing with the spiritual mastership business, which is simply for the matter of sense gratification. This is a lecture by Srila Prabhupada written in the a few decades back. He has given in a he's written in a letter to his disciple, one of his disciple. I don't know, it's not mentioned here. And even if he's a pure devotee, he can deliver others. He can become spiritual master. But unless he is on that platform, he should not attempt it. Then both of them will go to hell like blind man leading blind. Infiltration by demons. Rakshasa Kalim Ashritya Jayante Brahma Yonishu. In Kali Yuga, demons take birth in the family of Brahmins. It is mentioned in Varapuran. So many people I hear, even in America, they proudly declare that they are of Brahmin. They are from a Brahmin family, and they always speak of their Brahmin culture. And it's not a surprise, but even in India, so many of them speak about it. In America, when they say I'm a Brahmin, and then it's a very different uh, it's a very different situation to deal with altogether. They very proudly say, "I'm from a Brahmin family," and what have they done? They have married a Shudra. The girl declares she's a Brahmin family, and then she is married to a Shudra boy, and they have a family now here. And then this is the plight of the society, people in the society in general. So, who is a real Brahmin? He has a quality. He must have the qualities. There are qualities of a Brahmin mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. You can read from there, and we should always be aware of this because it is a matter of serving the Lord. And if we do not know, अगर ज्ञान ही नहीं है तो हम भगवान की सेवा कैसे करेंगे? So for that we have to read the books properly and follow what is given in that. Who is a Brahmin? Who is a Vaishnava? There are qualities of this mentioned in the scriptures, and we must be aware of it. Otherwise, how can we serve the Lord? We will go to nowhere, and it will lead to frustration, depression, and altogether giving up the devotional service. It is that serious. But we this is about not things happening, but this is about being aware what it could lead to. In practical, it will never happen because the Lord is merciful. He will hold your hand in any situation, no matter what. But it is for you to understand and be vigilant of all such possibilities, because we are in the material world since long, in eternity, they say. And eternity means a time, and time means, now it's a big theory, but yes, since eternity we have never worshipped the Lord. We did worship sometimes, then we receded, again went back, again came back. So this is not worship. This is whimsical. If you are a devote on the path of devotion to Lord, it has to be continuous and growing. Otherwise, it is not devotion, it is not bhakti. This, you have to have a good association, strong association. And if you don't have one, then you better carry on alone. And the Lord likes such people. This idea of beings from other realms taking birth on earth with agendas is not unheard of. In the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Vishnu instructed the demigods to take birth ahead of Krishna in order to assist him in his pastimes. The other way around, however, it seems that asuras also either take birth as residents of Bharat or that they express their influence through earthly beings, as we can see in the case of Duryodhan and other evil kings. Rakshas means almost man eater. Now, Rakshas is called a man eater here. Now, Srila Prabhupada is addressing this. It is serious. For their self satisfaction, they can eat even their own sons. They are called Rakshasas. No sense. My sense gratification should be satisfied. Never mind, you go to hell. This is the age. We create a machine that everyone comes and becomes smashed in that machine, and my sense satisfaction is there. Although I'll never be happy by such sense satisfaction, this is going on. You can know that this world is now managed by the Rakshasas. They don't mind what is happening. You can see everywhere around in the foreign countries what's going on. In India, it is also not spared from it. We have an ongoing issue on the northwest, upper northwest border of India. How? Whatever, but this is quite alarming. And looking at the news and the channels, it's quite disturbing what the tendency of humans can degrade to, up to what level. And we are fortunate that even in such adverse situations, the thought of serving the Lord is banging in our mind. We are, there is a tussle going on in the mind. How to serve Him, how to serve Him. In between come our anarthas and even some sense gratification thoughts due to bad association. We don't want to, but we have no power to push them aside, and we have to be dragged along with it. So, this is the pitiable state of our mind. But no matter, it is known to us is the mercy of the Lord. Otherwise, how else we would survive? We would carry on and get swayed by its force. But by the Lord's mercy, it is minimized by some percentage, and we are able to keep our head grounded and then think further. What next? What should I read? What should I chant? How should I serve the Lord? These things are going on in the mind, and this thought must be there in the mind all the time, no matter what. Whether or not Seva is happening, that is not so important at this stage. But yes, the thought of serving the Lord should be troubling us. And if that is there, then half the battle is already, you have already gone through successfully. That is how you should have some satisfaction. Otherwise, one may, altogether believe into something else, and he'll have his own whimsical, um, you know, beliefs out of these situations, and that is quite possible. That is human mind. It wants to do independently whatever, whether it is right or wrong. It does not discriminate. It is already this. Acharyas have said, mind is a friend, mind is an enemy too. So befriend the mind. The enemy part of it is it always instructs you. Just leave this. What are you up to? Come with me. I'll give you more sense gratification matter. And since the mind is stronger on the material world, Maya side, it wants to easily yield into and not listen to the things that give it the eternal benefit and the food for the soul. But it is very important. That is why when you chant, we have to chant attentively. And that attentiveness brings about this change in the times of the need. Else, what karmas will a jiva perform is very unpredictable. And what karmas go through and what will be the result of it, and who will help him, the soul, who will help the soul once it is drowned in such a darkness. No one knows. So you mind is friend, mind is enemy. Now that you know the mind is friend, always the mind always wants some friends to chit chat. It is always wanting to um, find some good friends and spend time that satisfies its own ignorant desires in ignorance. So why not find your own mind, which is a friend, and it must suggest you now you're wrong. You take a Srimad Bhagavatam, open it, and start reading. What are you waiting for? So in such a way, you can befriend your mind, and the stubborn mind must yield to it. The goodness always wins. Evil always gets defeated. This is the law of the nature. Even though people say fall is more heavy, but working towards good, working towards a change for good is very rare and difficult. But there's also a law. Goodness always wins, evil never. So we must have this conviction in mind and go on. And whatever little good comes to our mind, you must catch hold of it and magnify it. This way, small steps that you take will ensure the path to success, and one day you will be surprised where you are because you put in so many efforts all the time. Putting in efforts and trying is only what we can do. In between, whatever comes is for the intelligence, the intellect to understand and decide and go ahead. And the intelligence comes, of course, as Srila Prabhupada says, it comes from attentive chanting. When you chant, Krishna helps. Because you're trying to serve him, then whatever impediments come, he gives you intelligence to tackle that. And this is a very strong message that we have got. And if we ignore it and go again in ignorance, wandering into your own whimsical world, what will happen? We must stick to one thought and go on with it. And we must give a shot to it. Whether or not the success is there or a failure is, or if a failure is there, it is immaterial. You tried, that is success. The attempts you make and with the intention. What was the intention? It was a pure intention to serve and please the Lord, not just serving the Lord, pleasing Him. And you tried for that. So that is success. And this is a conviction you must have in the mind. And who else will give you a certificate other than your own self? You have to only give yourself a certificate. No one can question you, no one can challenge you. If you're sincere, you already gave a certificate, others must accept it. That is the way. Now, we read further. We'll read little from one paragraph and then continue the part 2 next session. Although I'll never be happy by such sense satisfaction, this is going on. The previous line to this was, we create a machine that everyone comes and becomes smashed in that satisfaction. In that machine, and my sense satisfaction is there. Although I'll never be happy by such sense satisfaction, this is going on. You can know that this world is now managed by the Rakshasas. They don't mind what is happening. They are prepared to sacrifice everything for fulfilling their whimsical nonsense. They are called Rakshasas. This is Srila Prabhupada saying. I'm just reading out the lecture that he wrote in a letter to one of his disciples in the late 70s. They are very much enamored by this material civilization. They cannot understand, and they will never try to understand because they are Rakshasas. Now he's again and again stressing they are called Rakshasas. They will never understand why, because they are Rakshasas. Now their very nature is Rakshas. So what does Lord say about such people in Bhagavad Gita? He says four types of people do not surrender to him. And one of Mood Naradhama, the fools and the degraded ones. Naradham. Then Prabhupada has gone to a very extreme saying they are man-eaters. Naradham means man-eater, eating their own sons. So this is how it is such a grave situation. Now further he says, demons are disguised as devotees. Srila Prabhupada says, there are many jealous people in the dress of Vaishnavas in this Krishna consciousness movement, and they should be completely neglected. Now, one of the acharyas predecessor, he says Chela. He indicates that there are the Vaishnavas, pseudo Vaishnavas with tilak on their nose and kanthi beads around their neck. Such pseudo Vaishnavas associate with money and women and are jealous of successful Vaishnavas. Now you will say, why you always read about this? It is because we are living here in the Western world, in the I'm in America, and in America, the social life is very different. It is good, people are good, they are aware of all the moral conducts, but no one is interested in hearing or listening about the philosophy that Srila Prabhupada has presented. It looks as if everybody is talking in the West because Prabhupada came in the West. It looks as if in the West everybody is, interested in Prabhupada philosophy. They are interested, but they don't study the way it demands, and they don't even want to discuss. And in such, and the social life is not that, as it should be expected. People are disintegrated and spread over, and in such situations, if you are not aware of who is who, what is a true Vaishnav, then you may commit some karmas which will become totally a blockage on the path to true devotion, pure devotion. Bhakti is not so easy thing as it seems to be. भक्ति में लगने वाले जो संस्कार होते हैं और जो ह्यूमिलिटी बताई जाती है, ये ह्यूमिलिटी से ही तुम्हें सारा ज्ञान मिलेगा, क्या करना चाहिए, द डूज एंड डोंट्स. I hear lectures on the channels these days, do's and don'ts of Kartik month. But it is not only for the Kartik month, it is for the whole of the year, 12 months. The do's and don'ts of pure devotion. There are certain things, if you are very keen on getting into pure devotional service, and if you are seriously trying, the Lord will give you the intelligence to understand what is prohibited, what is needed, what next to do, and if there is no other opportunity, what to do within the available resources. The whole process is so beautiful that Krishna has arranged it very perfectly, in a perfect manner for each one of the soul, because each one is individual. Each soul is individual, as it is said in the Bhagavad Gita, as it is Veshti Atma, and their sanskaras or their karmas each have a different, you know, it is a different result on their minds, vritti. जो प्रवृत्ति है वो हर एक जीवात्मा की अलग अलग है, और उसे जैसे सूट होता है, एडजस्ट होता है, उसे वैसे ही करने में आनंद आता है. Whatever, but it is the fact, and we have to go it because it is, we are under Maya. We are not in the transcendental world all the time. Sometimes we go to the transcendental area, sometimes to the Maya, and then sometimes we are totally in a different environment. So this arrangement is perfect for each individual. Krishna is so merciful. He has kindly arranged for each soul to progress, and one must find out his own path, what satisfies him, what gives him interest to grow, what pushes him in the forward direction of the pure devotional service. What does he understand by pure devotional service? First of all, he has to question this. What is pure devotional service? You're serving someone. That person has to be in front of you, isn't it? Who will you serve? Now that is the question. He has to be in front of you, otherwise what is the meaning? अकेले कोई ऐसे ही, वो तो पागल कहलाएगा. तो अकेले तो प्रभुपाद ने कहा है, when you are chanting, you are associating with Krishna. When you chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Krishna is right in front of you. It is the fact. Now you will say this is whimsical, this is imaginary. It is not imaginary because a bona fide Acharya says it, and we believe in his Vani. So when you are chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the Lord is right in front of you and he gives you the result immediately. And now you'll say, I'm chanting but nothing happens. You have not become a demon. Why? Because the Lord has helped you. Otherwise, you would have gone demonic by now. You chanted, the Lord immediately gave you the result. इसीलिए सात्विक प्रवृत्ति तुम्हारे में टिकी हुई है, वरना तुम उसी 4 प्रकार के लोग जो नहीं शरणागत होते उसमें आ जाते. पर तुम में थोड़ी सी प्रवृत्ति है, तुम्हें लगता है बीच से, there's a feeling of guilt. Today I didn't do any seva. I did not think about the Lord. I did not read any Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita or Chaitanya Charitamrita. So what is that guilt feeling? It is the Lord's mercy. Otherwise, we would not have even felt anything about it. A feeling is there towards the transcendental area. So that is his mercy. And you have to recognize such small, small things and realize the presence of the Lord's merciful glance in your life. It is all about realization. And it sometimes look as if it is very weak. It may be weak for you, but for Krishna, it is not weak. For him, from his point of view, it is a lot. For us, it may look weak because we are always into quantifying things. And unknowingly, we quantify that portion also, which we should not. And the intelligence the Lord gives mercifully to us keeps us grounded on the path. Otherwise, one would altogether, get lost. And it could happen. It doesn't mean that you'll not get lost. You can get lost, but again, you'll be helped. The Lord's mercy is always there. These ups and downs in this devotional life and our trials will go on because we are suffering sometimes and we are sometimes performing new karmas. कर्म हमेशा हो रहा है हमसे. कर्म क्या है? भगवत गीता में पूरा बताया गया है. कर्म क्या है, अकर्म क्या है, विकर्म क्या है. Karma means the result must be there. Action and the result of the action. It could be in one of the 3 gunas, sattva, rajatam, or it could be transcendental, akarma for the Lord. So karma means action. And what is action? How is the action come into place? Intention. And what is the intention? Kama. We are under Maya, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Mada, Matsarya. Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Mad, Matsarya. It starts with Kam, desire. Because we are in the material world, by default, the desire is sense gratification. By default, because of Maya. We are under Maya, and by default, it is sense gratification. Now, hold on 1 minute. We are in the material world, but saints are also in the material world. Then, what is their achievement? How are they progressing? They don't do sense gratification, they do sense gratification of Krishna. वे उनकी इच्छाओं को पूर्ण करते हैं, हम अपनी इच्छाओं को पूर्ण करते हैं। और हम क्या है? हम भूल गए हैं। यदि हमने याद रखा कि हम भगवान के अंश हैं, जीव हैं उनके, नित्य दास है। चैतन्य चरितामृत में भगवान कहते हैं जीवेर स्वरूप है कृष्णेर नित्य दास। हम अपने स्वरूप को भूल जाते हैं, तब हमें हमारी सेंस ग्रेटिफिकेशन का हमेशा दिमाग में चलता रहता है। अभी कुछ करना है और 5 हमारे जो सेंस ऑर्गन्स हैं उसी में हम ऊपर नीचे सब कुछ इधर उधर आगे पीछे ऊपर नीचे जाते रहते हैं। और संत भी हैं, वैष्णव भी हैं, वे क्या करते हैं? उन्हें हमेशा अपने प्रभु की सेवा का उनमें एक रहता है। अब मैं क्या करूं? What should I do next? What next? They are always thinking of the Lord. And how did it happen? All of a sudden, how did they come to this state? That is the Lord's mercy. If you are trying and trying, then the Lord's mercy manifests, and we must allow the Lord to shower His mercy on us. The Lord does, मुझे तो कुछ नहीं अनुभव हो रहा है, भगवान की दया, भगवान की कृपा क्यों नहीं हो रहा है? क्योंकि तुमने उन्हें आने के लिए, प्रवेश करने के लिए जगह ही नहीं छोड़ी। Humility, you forgot humility. You forgot humility, then you forgot yourself. You forgot your own swarup. You forgot tolerance. You forgot yourself. Forgot your swarup. So, humility and tolerance, these are the two we have been given in the Shikshashtaka, the 8 verses. Tranadapi sunichin, taroreva sahishnunam, amanina manadena, kirtaniya sadahari. Humility, tolerance, respect for others without expecting it in return. And thus, in this state, continuing to serve the Lord. This looks very easy. It is easily said than done. But it requires a whole lot of efforts to go through and understand how you can bring this into practice. And why you can't bring into practice, it is your negligence. Only negligence and nothing else. So with this, we will discuss the part 2 sections. It will take some 5 to 6 more sessions, and daily, one by one, we shall see this. So part 2 we will see tomorrow. Hare Krishna.